Okay, I'm gonna try to talk a little quicker this time, not do one for 20 minutes. I gotta do a video about this whole tank for Trevor, lose for Lance, all this shit that you're hearing constantly from Vikings fans, and I use the word fans very loosely on this. Tanking is a foolish strategy. It always has been, it always will be. All these Vikings fans were 0-2. They want to lose out. They basically want to go 0-16. They want to get the number 1 pick so they can get Trevor Lawrence, who might be good. He might be really good. He might be a fucking bust. He could be Jamarcus Russell for all we know. Fact is, you don't know. But it's more than just like one player here. You don't, like, this is even putting aside the whole thing where all these fucking idiot fans think that, oh, if we just replace Kirk Cousins with a young quarterback, that'll solve all our problems. Well, it won't. But you can't convince the Kirk haters, and I basically run out of any patience with the Kirk haters. Just like I've run out of patience with the Zimmer haters. Do you even like football, you people? Honestly. But just in terms of, okay, let's say you want to get a new quarterback. You want to get a young franchise quarterback, which everybody wants. You don't, there's zero evidence. And I looked this shit up. You go back, you want to talk about who the quarterbacks are now who are really good, or you want to talk about the all-timers, you know, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks going all the way back. The vast majority of these guys were not taken even in the top 10, let alone top 5 or number 1. I mean, just the guys, like, everyone's got their different rankings. If you go like do the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL coming into this season, almost all of them were not taken in the top 5 or even the top 10. Patrick Mahomes is taken 10th. That's about it. You got Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Brady, Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson. Even if you want to throw Garoppolo in there, these guys were not taken at the top of the draft. They, a lot of them were not even taken in the first round, and these have been, in some cases, the premier quarterbacks for a decade plus in this league. And I mean, whatever criteria you want to use, even if you go down and say, hey, the 10 through 20 quarterbacks, well, most of those weren't taken in the top 5. Cousins is in that group. He was a 4th round pick. The Redskins took, Cousins was the 2nd quarterback they took in their draft that year, and he was the best one of the 2. RG3 was their, they mortgaged the farm for RG3. I mean, he looked good at the start, but he got injured, and that was it. I think he's still in the league. I think he's backing up in Baltimore, but like, and then you just go back through the history, the best quarterbacks, whether it's just you want a star quarterback or you just want a quarterback who wins a Super Bowl, which this doesn't always overlap. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. He ain't a star, and he's now apparently can't beat out Trubisky. So you don't need to tank. And I'm fairly disgusted by these fucking idiot fans who are like, we have to tank, and they want to tank. They would rather lose games. 2 games into a year, they would rather lose games. They would rather have a 2-14 team or an 0-16 team than a team that, gets a little better during the year and maybe finishes, 8-8 or something. Just because they have this fucking fantasy in their head that if they tank for Trevor or lose for Lance or whatever other alliteration is out there, that's going to be the magical cure to all their problems, and all they're going to do now is win Super Bowl after Super Bowl. You can't convince these people. I've tried. I've been trying for days, basically, to convince people that tanking is stupid, that it doesn't guarantee you anything. In fact, you're better off not even drafting a quarterback that high, because how often how often are guys drafted that high in the draft and then they're bombs and it really sets the team back? You know, most of these guys that are taken in the top 5 of the draft don't pan out, but you devote, you know, half a decade to these guys, and then it's like, okay, they're not what we wanted them to be. What do we do now? You know, most of them don't turn out to be as good as Kirk Cousins. I think the last team, you know, to draft a quarterback number 1 and he won them a Super Bowl was Eli. And Peyton before him, and then, you know, you go back a little, I looked up, I think there's like 6 guys who have been taken as a number 1 draft pick, and they've won a Super Bowl. And one of those was Jim Plunkett, who didn't win until he was on his 3rd team, so, like, you know, I don't know. It's just a sick mentality. Why are these people rooting for losses when the losses don't guarantee you shit? They think it does. Oh, they think it does. I don't doubt that they have, that they're, you know, just not knowledgeable enough to understand that it doesn't guarantee you a goddamn thing, but, like, you know, and maybe Trevor Lawrence is going to be the greatest quarterback in the NFL. Maybe he's going to be better than Mahomes, but there's a pretty good chance he's not going to be. And there's a pretty good chance that any other quarterback that these dumb fucks are just fantasizing about the Vikings getting is going to be anything better than Kirk Cousins. I mean, I don't know how to convince people of this shit. Like, they're so just, and this isn't the first time I've ever talked about, or ever heard Vikings fans talking about this shit. It wasn't that long ago. Who did Vikings fans want to tank the season to get? Johnny Manziel. Remember him? Yeah, we had to tank the season. I guess it would have been like 2013. I mean, they pretty much tanked anyway because they were not very good. But we had to tank the season to get Johnny Manziel. Yeah, how would that have worked out? Let's say how'd that work out? This is what happens with these fucking quarterbacks. Like, I get that Trevor Lawrence is very well known because he won a national championship and he plays for Clemson and he's got long hair, so he's a little distinctive. Like, but there's no guarantee. And guess what? You could. First of all, they would never purposely tank. But you could have a bad season and you still won't get the number 1 pick. Because there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to have bad records. But these fucking people, I can't stand them. The tank for Trevor people. The lose for Lance people. Stop. You're just idiots. All of you. Every bit of history in the sport shows that you don't need to draft a quarterback at number 1 or in the top 5 to get a star or a guy who's going to win you a Super Bowl or even multiple Super Bowls. Yeah. Like, even now, all the scouting there is now, all the film, all the talk, guys still get drafted and are busts, and guys get drafted later and are good. There's no point in saying, oh, you can win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins, which you can. Doesn't mean you will, but you can. I mean, Dan Marino never won Super Bowls. Does that mean you couldn't win a Super Bowl with Dan Marino? Of course not, but you can't convince these people, the tank people. Like, we're such a stupid fan base right now, and I know that this is not unique to Vikings fans in 2020 rooting for losses so they can draft a quarterback, but we're just dumb. I've lost so much fucking respect for the Vikings fan base over the last month or so, and it's only going to get worse if we lose to the Titans. But god damn it, people, honestly, you make being a Vikings fan so hard. I don't even want to be associated with you fucking It's really just so bad. But yeah, but we don't need to tank. If they decide they want to get a new quarterback after the season, a young guy, there's going to be guys later in the first round and in rounds after that you can get, and they might be just as good as anybody they're going to take at the top of the draft. And we will see that play out, because it's played out like that for the entire history of the NFL. So, root for wins. Be a decent fan for once, you dipshits.